Hello everyone, welcome back to Chinmoy's Biology channel to a new episode of reproduction in plants. So the previous episode we have already studied about asexual reproduction in plants. In today's episode we are going to discuss about sexual reproduction in plants. So let's get started without further delay and don't skip in middle because today's episode is going to be a very interesting one. So what are the learning objectives of today's lesson? Today we are going to study about what are sexual reproduction in plants, what is pollination, what is fertilization, what is a seed formation and seed dispersal. So regarding sexual reproduction, we are going to detail it as per your curriculum. Okay. So this all also we will be discussing today as well. So let's get started without further delay. So, what is sexual reproduction in plants? So, let's see what is sexual reproduction in plants. So, you have already learned earlier the structure of a flower in previous class. So, you know that flowers are having reproductive parts in plants. So, stamens are the male reproductive parts and pistil is the female reproductive plant. So, that only we will be studying in details in today's episode. So we are starting with an activity 8.4. We can take a mustard, China rose flower, or we can take that flower and separate its reproductive parts. Study the various parts of the stamen and the pistil. So flowers which are having only pistil or only stamens, they are called unisexual flowers. So either they are having pistil or they are having stamens, okay, but flowers which are having both the stamens and pistils, they are called the bisexual flowers. So corn, papaya, cucumber, they are unisexual flowers, they are producing unisexual flowers, whereas mustard, rose, petunia, they are producing bisexual flowers, okay. So we can just see the diagrams over here. You can see this is the stamen or the male part which is having a filament, and this is the anther part, okay. So the male part or the stamen is having a filament, this long stalk is the filament and this part is the anther. Now the female part is the pistil, we all know. So what the pistil is having stigma. This one is the stigma, this stalk is called the style, and this bulging part is called the ovary, which is having inside, you can see some dot seed like structure. These are ovules inside the ovary. Is it clear? So this is the basic part. The male part is having filament and anther, and the female part is having ovule, ovary, style, stigma and all. So it's fine. Now let us move on with this structure. So both the male and the female unisexual flowers may be present in the same plant. So, but they may also be present in different parts as well. So, could you identify the anther and the filament of a stamen? So, just now we have seen this diagram. In this diagram, we can identify the anther and the filament, and we can identify this part as well. This is the pistil of a flower which is having the style, stigma, ovary and ovule. Okay, so what is happening here? Just try to understand. Another, we can say that another, this plant, if they are having the So another part, if they are having the female part, they will have, we can say that is a unisexual flower. A plant is having the male part and another plant is having a female part. So then we need cross pollination from one flower to another. So this we will study in the later part of this lesson only, today only. So anther, it contains we can say that anther, it contains the pollen grains which produce the male gametes. Okay, so anther here, it is producing the pollen grains which is producing the male gametes, and pistil which contains the style, stigma and ovary. Ovary contains the female gamete and egg, okay, which is formed in the ovule. Now, in sexual reproduction, a male and female gamete, they should combine together, they should fuse together to form a zygote. Now, Bujo wants to know that how the male gamete and the pollen grain reaches the female gamete present in the ovule. So, how this is happening? Suppose this is the anther, it is having the pollen grains, and this is the female part which is having the style, stigma and ovary. So, from here to here, how the pollen reaches? This is also a question, right? So, how the pollen is reaching from the male gamete to the female gamete. So how this is happening? So for that we should learn about the pollination. Okay, so what is pollination? We will learn now. So what is pollination? Pollination is actually generally the pollen grains which are produced in this anther. They are at times they are having very, we can say that pollen grains which are produced here, they are having a very tough protective coat which prevents them from drying up. So this is the pollen. Suppose it is having a tough protective coat outside it which is preventing it from drying up, because it should be moist enough, okay, to fall on this stigma and get stuck to it. It should be moist enough. So this outer protective coat is protecting it from preventing it from drying up. So since the pollen grains are light, they can be carried by wind or by water. So insects, they generally visit the flowers, they carry away the pollen grains on their bodies. Some of the pollen grain lands on the stigma of the flower of the same kind, where others, they are transferred from the anther to the stigma of another flower. So this process from where from anther to stigma, the pollen grains are transferred either in the same plant or in different plant. This is called pollination. The process of transferring of the pollen grain from anther to stigma is called pollination. So is it clear to all of you? So if the pollen lands on the stigma of the same flower of another plant, another flower of the same plant, it is called self-pollination. So it is falling in the same flower or in the another flower of the same plant. So suppose this is the plant and here different flowers are there. So when this when the pollen grains from one flower of the same plant is falling on the same plant itself, within the same flower also, if it is a bisexual flower, or within a different flower as well, this is called self-pollination. Okay, when this is falling on different flower, when this one from one flower it is carried to different flower, this is called cross-pollination. So is it clear to all of you? So when it is falling on the same part, it is called self-pollination. When it is falling on the different part, it is called cross-pollination. When the pollen of the flower lands on the stigma of a flower of different plant of a same kind, it is called cross-pollination. Is it clear? Now, what is happening here? The pollen is falling on the stigma of another flower. Now here the pollen grain starts germinating. So when it starts germinating, for zygote formation, this pollen, it is extended into a pollen tube. So this tube is carrying this pollen grain towards the we can say that towards the ovary, and inside egg is there, it is getting fused and it is forming a zygote. So what is this process called? This process is called zygote formation or fertilization. Now we have seen what is pollination. We will now see what is fertilization. Okay, let us see this. So the cell which results after fusion of the gametes, so here the male gametes and the female gametes when they are fusing, so here is the egg and here is the male gamete. Okay, so the pollen and the egg, they are fusing and it is forming a zygote. So the fusion of the male and the female gametes, this process is called zygote formation, is called fertilization, and the zygote develops into an embryo. Okay, is it clear? Now, how the fruits and seeds formation are happening in a plant. So, let us see that as well. We have seen fertilization, we have seen pollination. So, we will see now fruit or seed formation. So, after fertilization, the ovary grows into a fruit. So, this is the ovary, it will grow into a fruit, whereas other parts of the flower fall. So, other parts will fall off, and the fruit is the ripened ovary. So, what is a fruit? The fruit is always a ripened ovary, and the seeds develop from the ovule. So, inside this ovule was there So the seeds are developing from the ovule, and the seed contains an embryo which is enclosed in a protective seed coat. So if seed is formed, seed is having it is having an embryo inside that. That is again the budding plant inside that. So embryo is covered by a seed coat, and this is a protective covering for the seed coat. Is it clear? Now some fruits are fleshy and juicy, such as mango and orange, and some fruits are very hard, like almonds, walnuts, etc. Okay, some fruits like mango and orange are very juicy. So now you can see here. So this is almond. This is very strong fruit having a very hard seed, and this is a fleshy fruit, apple with seeds inside that, and they are having a protective seed coat, and this is actually the ripened ovary. The fruit is the ripened ovary. Now we will move on to seed dispersal. So now we will come to seed dispersal. So in nature, same kind of plants grow at different places, right? So this happens because seeds are dispersed to different places. Sometimes after a walk through a forest, what you will see, some seeds or fruits are sticking to your clothes, which are having some spines on them. So do you try to observe how seeds were clinging to your clothes? What do you think will happen if all the seeds of the plant were to fall at the same place and grow there? What will happen? There would be severe competition of sunlight, water, minerals and space. As a result, the seeds would not grow into healthy plants. Okay, so plants benefit by seed dispersal, and it prevents competition between the plant and its own seedlings. For sunlight, water and minerals. Okay, so they are having a competition between each of their all their seeds only. So they own seedlings for sunlight, water and minerals. So it also enables the plants to invade new habitats for wider distribution. Okay, so seeds and fruits of plants are carried away by wind, water and animals. So winged seeds, they are those of drumstick and maple, those which are having wings like this. Okay, so their seeds are inside and they are having wings like this. So which helps them, they are light, and which helps them to move through, we can say that it is helping them to move through air. Okay, now seeds of grasses or hairy seeds, like hairy fruits of sunflower, they get blown off with wind to far off places. So they are dispersed with the help of wind. So they are dispersed by the winds. Okay, so this hairy fruits of sunflower, these hairy fruits are also of sunflower and madar. They are also dispersed by wind. Some seeds are dispersed by water, like they have the floating ability in the form of spongy or fibrous from outer coat, as in coconut. Okay, some seeds are dispersed by animals, especially spiny seeds with hooks which get attached to the bodies of animals and are carried to distant places. Now xanthium and urena, examples are xanthium and urena. They are carried to different places. They are having spines on them. The spiny seeds, they get stuck into animal skin, hairy or human clothes and all, and thus they are getting transferred from one place to another. Some seeds are dispersed when the fruits burst with sudden jerks, and the seeds are scattered far from the parent plant. So the seeds are taken from the parent plants to different parts, and the seeds gets burst all of a sudden. This happens in case of castor seeds and balsam seeds. So what you should do, you should run two examples of each one, two examples of wind dispersal, two examples like spiny seeds, how they are dispersed, two examples of this coconut and all this spongy and fibrous coated outer coat plants which are dispersed through water, and two examples of this fruits which are bursting and the seeds are scattered. So castor and balsam. So just learn the examples in which way they are scattered. So this is all about the seed dispersal. So what are the key words in this full lesson we have studied? We have studied about asexual reproduction, budding, embryo, fertilization, fragmentation, gametes, hypha, ovule, pollen grain, pollen tube, pollination, seed dispersal, sexual reproduction, spore, sporangium, vegetative propagation, and zygote. So please go through it properly, the first part and the second part. If you have not gone through the first part, I'll put the link in the description box as well. So please do go through it. So we have all learned this. Go through this all. Whatever things to remember, what you have learned is there in your book. If you're having any queries, any doubts, please do write in my comment box. Do the exercise given in your NCERT book. Please do the exercises. If you are having any doubts, any queries, write in my comment box. I'll get back to you. This is very easy. I'll not do it for you. This is your homework. Please do it as homework. I have taught you each and every part in this lesson. The production of new individuals from vegetative part of a parent is called what? A flower may have either male or female reproductive flowers. That flower is called what? I have just now told you in this lesson. The fusion of the male and the female gametes is called what? The seed dispersal takes place by means of dash, dash, and dash. So all have been taught in this class. If you have not understood, please go to the video again and recap the episodes which what are the lesson in this lesson I have taught. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel for more interesting and more episodes and more lessons as per your curriculum. Stay tuned, stay updated, and please do share it with your friends as well. Thank you. Thanks a lot for watching.